What is up? It is Lewis here from Alien Weaponry, and you are listening to The Dan Chan Show.
Okay, so I've got Lewis and Henry from Alien Weaponry. How are you guys?
We are good. We're good.
Excellent. How's things, and how was the pandemic in New Zealand? Because you guys handled it probably the best in the whole world, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty good. We have just gone into a lockdown. We've had a few cases of the Delta variant come through. I think we're sitting on about 500 cases at the moment, but they're starting to drop in numbers again, new cases every day. So it looks like we're going to be coming out of the lockdown before we leave for our US tour with Gojira.
Yeah, cool.
But yeah, in general, we've had it pretty good over here in terms of COVID and whatnot, but definitely everything's kind of gotten in the way of the music just a little bit, especially the overseas touring side of things.
Of course, we'll get into that. So onto the band, your new album, Tangaroa. Have I said that right? Tangaroa?
Tangaroa, yeah.
Yeah, is out on the 17th of September. How excited, after everything that we've been going through the last year and a half, are you guys to be getting it out?
I'm stoked, like
Super excited.
through the roof. We've had a lot of good feedback from journalists and people who we've shown the album to, so I can't wait to see, I guess, the general reaction from our fan base and everyone who's going to listen to it.
Exactly. And was the album written and recorded during the pandemic? Was it a pandemic baby?
Absolutely. Not so much the writing side of things, but definitely the recording side of things. It was literally like the first day we went to go and record drums in the studio, got in, set everything up. And we've got a pretty elaborate setup for our drum mic situation. So that generally takes about half a day, and we got about half a day of drum tracking done. So that was 1-2 tracks.
Yeah.
And then we went into lockdown, so we had to pack it all up and leave again.
Sure.
We did have challenges in that aspect, but a lot of it we did actually record in our home studio here in Waipu. So all of the vocals and everything we did ourselves up here.
Mm-hmm. Did that affect the whole mood of the album, do you think? Did that change any dynamics of it?
It definitely gave us a bit more of a chance to polish some things off, and really, maybe try out some stuff that we hadn't thought about or wouldn't necessarily have had time to do if we hadn't gone into lockdown, you know?
Yeah.
So in a way, it kind of was a bit of a blessing in disguise,
Yeah.
And I mean, we recorded pretty much all the vocals and some of the guitar parts here in Waipu in our home studio that we've been working on for a while. So that process was definitely kind of less time pressure, and we could really refine some stuff a bit more.
So more breathing space.
Absolutely. We did have more time to be nitpicky.
Yeah. That can also be a hindrance, though, because sometimes you can just keep.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've got, I guess, the ability to kind of know when we're getting a little bit too far into that territory. I think we worked on things until we were happy, and I feel like that's produced some very interesting stuff on this album.
Yeah. So what's the writing process and recording process like for you? Is it quite organic? Obviously, we've just gone through that you had more time. Is that what you'd normally do anyway, or is it more like, structured?
I mean, we've had a pretty kind of regular songwriting approach, but it is very kind of fluid. Generally, getting ideas for songs involves us jamming and coming up with ideas and recording things just on a little like Tascam recorder.
Yeah.
And then just going through those and finding what we like and then building songs off that. So a lot of it is very organic and just kind of comes together. And I think since the last album, we've definitely gotten a little bit better at that, and better at kind of doing it a little quicker, and kind of knowing what is going to work live and whatnot.
Well, I was going to say, how do you think you've evolved since your debut album in 2018? How do you think you've moved on since then?
We've definitely taken a more progressive, technical approach to this album.
Yeah.
And we've also incorporated some quite different things from the last album. Like, I think for some of the English songs, like, we've delved into some more sensitive topics, you know, some much more dark and personal stuff, as well as for some of the Māori tracks, incorporating some more traditional Māori writing styles into what we do, as opposed to, you know, kind of the classic, you know, metal style of things.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. Because the title track is about heavy fishing and pollution and destroying the ocean. How important is this message for you guys?
Oh, it is hugely important, and I think it's such a big issue because it affects everything on this planet, which is, I guess, why we decided to name the album, you know, after the track as well, because it is this kind of all-encompassing thing where the ocean does affect everything on this planet, do we know it or not. So I guess that was the kind of idea of, you know, having the album be called Tangaroa as well.
Yeah. And do you think more bands should do more in their part in spreading the word about the environment and maybe the world in general? Do you think it's something that musicians should do more of? Because they've got like this captive audience that they can, you know, educate.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I'd love to see more of it. But I feel like, you know, if it is going to be happening, it does need to come from a place of, you know, genuine care as well.
Yeah.
Like, you can't
of course.
write about something if you don't genuinely care about it.
Yeah. Because you do get, you know, you do get a lot of music fans say, you know, musicians should stay out of it, you know. But I do believe that if you've got a platform, you can really help and educate people, especially in these times.
Yeah, well, I mean, end of the day, we can really write about whatever we want to be writing about. You know, there's no one telling us like, hey, you can't write about this.
Of course.
You know, you shouldn't be writing about this or that. Obviously, people can have their opinions, but end of the day, we're going to end up writing about what we write about.
Of course.
Whether that's good for us as a band or not is another question. But so far, it seems that people enjoy listening to what we have to write about and what we've got to say about things.
I totally agree. And with this album, you're incorporating Maori sounds into the album more than the debut. You guys, you know, have Maori ancestry. How important is it to incorporate this into your writing and sound as well?
It's become a pretty big identity for the band, as well as, I guess, it's been helping us kind of discover ourselves and who we are as people as well. So, you know, it's extremely important, and I feel like it's not something that we're going to stop doing at any point. I can't see us stopping writing in Māori and you know, finding new ways of incorporating who we are as Māori into what we are doing as musicians.
Yeah, of course. And what other topics do you guys like to tap into as well? What other themes do you like to write about?
Anything from ancient Māori history to more recent colonial history to personal experiences that we've had. So it really does vary. Kind of whatever we're feeling at the time. We usually write the instrumentals first and then kind of see how that makes us feel and decide, you know, whether the song's going to be English or Māori.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But sometimes, you know, we will have lyrics written before the songs. But yeah, it really does depend on, you know, what we're, you know, going through personally and what we're interested about history-wise.
Yeah, that's cool. I need to ask, how cool was it to have the front cover of Metal Hammer magazine back in January with that headline, Meet the Future of Metal?
Yeah, that was pretty amazing. I mean, Metal Hammer have always been super supportive of us. But to kind of get that email saying, hey, we want to put you guys on the cover was like, damn, okay, we're going to be on the cover of a print issue magazine. Like that's, I feel like it has been like a milestone for us as a band. And it's not just any magazine, it's Metal Hammer, like they're, I guess, one of the authorities on the genre,
of course, at
the moment. So yeah, it was huge for us, and we really enjoyed the interview for it, and just being able to, I guess, have that out there for people.
Of course. Now you guys seem really humble. Are you the next best thing? What do you think?
Dude, I don't know.
I think we're our own worst critics. I feel like a lot of musicians are.
Yeah.
People like, I don't know, my friends and stuff, tell me how good I am, and all I can think about is, how good the next guy is compared to me,
Yeah. That's a good way to be there. That's life.
Yeah, I feel like having that sense of drive to be better is a healthy thing. Because you do see some people that think they're all that, and they don't practice enough, and they don't push themselves, and sometimes it ends up showing through and getting the better of them.
Do you feel any added pressure for this? For the front cover of a major magazine telling you're the future, do you feel any like, oh shit,
I try not to think about it too hard, but I mean, there definitely is a sense of, I got to stay on my toes, I guess.
Yeah. It's probably a healthy way to be, though, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, a bit of history. Now, I'd normally ask how bands come together, but as brothers, and you formed a band when you were 8 and 10 years old, I can't even ask you how you formed a band, but was it like a case of here's some drums, here's a guitar? How did it come together?
Pretty much.
Christmas, birthdays.
Our first kind of thing we did as Alien Weaponry was have a family friend who was trying to get into videography come over and shoot a music video.
Yeah,
I put that kind of loosely, music video, like more of a performance piece on us, which was very interesting, and it's still up on YouTube. Because we didn't upload it, and she lost the account, so it's up there somewhere. And we've tried to have it pulled down like so many times, but I'm sure people would be able to find it if they really look.
Dig deeper.
But that's all the clues we're going to give you, fellas.
Yeah. We'll find it. So to give us some scope now, how old are you guys?
I'm 19 at the moment,
and I'm 21.
Wow. So we're talking
like. Years.
So it's so much going on. So what are your influences as a band? As I say, you're quite young. Is it old school stuff that you turn to, or is it more newer bands? What did you grow up with?
Grew up with the old school.
Yeah.
Like Rage Against the Machine, Metallica, a little bit of Iron Maiden, Pink Floyd.
Bob Marley.
Yeah.
Bit of Motorhead as well.
Who introduced who introduced you to those bands? Was it through a family member or friends or what?
It's our dad. He's like pretty much been the major musical influence in our lives from day one. Like as we got older, we started listening to bands like Lamb of God and Slipknot, and more recently, I mean, Gojira, I discovered probably in about 2012, 2013.
Wow,
And like Meshuggah, Polyphia's one of the big ones that we've discovered over the past couple of years.
All right, all these metal bands. What's a guilty pleasure then?
For me, I listen to. I think me and Henry both into our drum and bass and dubstep, and me some psytrance, some dirty psytrance.
Great,
which is not something that I think a lot of metalheads can say, but
no, I understand. But I like that as well. So.
I feel like I listen to as much metal as I do other kinds of music. Like reggae and all that other stuff.
Great. So, what's the metal scene like in New Zealand? Do you get many touring bands down there?
We don't get a heap of touring bands, although lately New Zealand's really been the place to be for a lot of overseas artists.
It's a cool place. It's a cool place.
Yeah, I mean, just because we've had the ability to do shows that are above like 1,000 capacity or even above 100 capacity for a while. I mean, we had a lot of, in fact, especially drum and bass artists coming over, but also metal bands from overseas and just bands in general. But it is a little bit harder for whole bands to come over here because we do have, I guess, like this managed isolation, which gets booked out months in advance and really hard to get slots for.
And it's hard to get to Middle Earth, isn't it?
Yeah, at the moment, we're pretty locked down. So, but yeah, like the scene here is very passionate. You get a lot of people who are just right into what they do as musicians, or you know, the shows they go to. You know, there's always kind of wearing your passion on your, you know, very outwardly expressing that.
So I've got to ask, as brothers, do you disagree easily, or you know, because obviously if you had mates in the band, you know, you'd just be like, you probably ride it a little bit. But because you guys have known each other all your lives, is there easy fallings out, and do you work things through easily, or what?
I don't think we have fallouts as such.
I feel like we used to, like, I mean, definitely back in the 14, 16-year-old days, we were filled with hormones and our chemistry was all over the place. You know, there have been in the past a few roadside fist fights.
Right.
But
really?
I feel like
the Gallagher brothers.
kind of,
Yeah, just a little bit.
I feel like we've got past that.
Yeah, we've gotten over ourselves since then.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I see. Now, onto the shows. Have you been doing shows in New Zealand? Obviously, you said it's just gone into another lockdown in New Zealand, but obviously New Zealand sorted itself out quite early into the pandemic. So have you done shows in New Zealand when we haven't been able to have shows in, say, Europe?
Yeah, I mean, we were, I think, the first country to open the kind of live show scene back up, and you know, we were able to do like a nationwide tour last year,
that's cool.
in November, December, that kind of period. So, yeah, we've been pretty lucky in that sense, being able to do shows without like limitations of numbers or, you know, because we didn't actually have any COVID in the country as well. You know, we didn't have limitations as to whether people had to wear masks either.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. We're starting to get that up here now. So you're supporting Gojira in the States and Europe. Are you ready to hit the road outside New Zealand again? You must be stoked.
Absolutely.
Super
I mean,
excited.
you know, it's gonna be, I guess, a challenge going back into, I guess, a COVID-filled environment. But I think, you know, the cons are definitely nowhere near going to outweigh the benefits we're going to get from this.
Of course.
Just mentally as well, like, I've been itching to get on the road again, and just not being able to tour has really taken a bit of a toll on me. So being able to do it again is going to be awesome.
What's your favourite place to tour outside New Zealand? You guys have done it at such a young age. You've toured and been to so many countries. What's your favourite place to play? Outside of New Zealand, of course.
I feel like I'm supposed to say the UK, but I think
it's
Slovenia. Slovenia, I think, is like the favourite spot for a lot of us, because the Metal Days Festival is something different now. Like
it was the reason that we got to Europe in the first place.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Slovenia's it's a beautiful country.
I love that country. Yeah, it's beautiful. I'll be honest, stunning. Now, what's this about Copenhagen, Denmark, and the crowd doing the hacker for you? That must have been nuts, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
How did that happen?
So that was the people at the festival came and told us, like, what, 10 minutes before we went on stage, we're going to get someone to teach the crowd the haka. And we're like, oh, yeah, that sounds kind of cool. Like, you know.
Ended up getting this New Zealander who actually coached haka for like a living.
Yeah, this Māori dude who was living in Denmark went out taught the crowd the haka, and as we walked out, you know,
That's crazy.
7,000
haka
people
ever,
all
surely.
I walked out on the stage and I was like, whoa, this is like way more of a big deal than I was, you know, expecting it to be. And yeah,
My ass was backstage trying not to cry.
No, I can imagine. I can imagine being quite emotional. Now, my last question for you guys so far: what one song do you think sums Alien Weaponry up the best?
the new record, buy it now.
Yeah. One song, because I'm going to play it after this.
Probably Kai Tangata, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Straight.
Is like the reason I think most people heard about us. Initially.
I understand. Well, guys, thanks so much. Good luck with the new album and the tours. I hope to see you on the road very soon.
I appreciate it, my man.